All right, I'm going to call to order the January 20th, 2026 regular meeting of the Board of Education to order per Government Code Section 54950 at Sequitur and Education Code Section 35140 at Sequitur at the District Educational Center, 1301 East Orangethorpe Avenue, Placentia at 5:34 p.m. We're going to start with closed session, but we're going to offer opportunity for public comment. Comments at this time are limited to closed session agenda only items. We're going to adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussing the following matters. Actually, I'll wait and pause. Anybody want to make any comments for closed? Seeing none. Okay, so we're going to adjourn to closed session to discuss 3.1 public employment discipline, dismissal, suspension, release, leave, assignment, non-reelection, non-reappointment, resignation, reinstatement pursuant to Government Code 54957. 3.2 personnel matters, public employee appointments, employment pursuant to Ed Code 54957, Assistant Superintendent, Human Services, Human Resources. 3.3, conference with labor negotiators, Dr. Kim LeBlanc Esparza, Superintendent, Dr. John Papalardo, Chief Business Officer, Yolanda Mendoza, Acting Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources per CSEA, APLE, and PLUM. 3.4, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision B3A of Government Code Section 54956.9, 1 case. 3.5, expulsion, case number 3601A2. And we have no speakers at this time. So we will adjourn to closed session at 5:35.
In California and number 71 nationally. Academy application interest remains strong, with more than 250 applications received for Valencia High School's International Baccalaureate, IB, Cambridge, and Val Tech programs. The school looks forward to welcoming the class of 2030 to these prestigious academies. In Yorba Linda High School, winter sports are in full swing, with league competition beginning this week. More than 300 student athletes are competing this season, with teams striving for league championships and opportunities to advance to CIF playoffs in early February. The visual and performing arts programs continue to earn notable recognition. Connor Heron was selected to march with the Pasadena City College Tournament of Roses Parade Band on New Year's Day, and Heaven Park was honored as a Southern California School Band and Orchestra Association Honor Band member for the second time as a sophomore. In addition, 20 students from the Visual and Performing Arts Department have been nominated for the Orange County Register Artist of the Year Awards. The Yorba Linda High School Advanced Video Productions program also earned 7 awards at the recent Film Ed 24-Hour Film Festival. The school community also looks ahead to the upcoming production of The Music Man. That concludes my report this evening.
Great job, Simran. I have a question for you to follow up. What experience do you hope to gain from being a student board member for the Placentia-Yorba Linda Unified School District?
As a student board member, I hope to gain meaningful and valuable experience through civics and government, learning about how the Board of Education works in Placentia-Yorba Linda Unified School District, and being a great representative for the students of PWL-USD this semester.
Great. Well, welcome, and we're so glad to have you.
Thank you.
All right, so now we are to our Superintendent's Board report, so I will pass it over to you.
Thank you, President Buck. Good evening again, trustees, executive cabinet members, and members of our community. I won't yell at you this time. I'll start with Music Educators Award. The Orange County Music and Arts Administrators recently announced the 2026 Outstanding Art Educators in Music and Arts Award recipients. 10 PYL-USD educators were nominated in various categories, and El Dorado High School teacher Miss Audra Ross was selected for the Distinguished Honor of Digital and Media Arts Secondary. Also among this year's honorees is Valencia High School teacher Miss Megan Arthurton. She will be the recipient of the Irene Sheffley Award for Music. This special distinction, presented only at the discretion of the selection committee, honors a lasting contribution to music education in Orange County. The award's namesake, Irene Sheffley, served as OCDE's first music consultant for 4 decades, from the 1920s through the 1960s. These educators will be honored at the OC Art Education Awards Gala on March 4th at the Samueli Theater, and sorry if I butchered that, I'm still learning the name, in Costa Mesa. It's no secret that our school district has long-standing tradition of excellence in the performing arts, and much of this excellence can be attributed to talented music teachers and support staff. Next, I want to talk a little bit about strategic visioning and planning. The Placentia-Yorba Linda Unified School District is beginning a district-wide strategic visioning and planning process to guide the future of schools and community over the next 5 years. Strategic planning process. This collaborative effort brings together students, staff, families, and community partners to reflect on what is working well and to shape a shared roadmap for student learning and success. Our goal is to ensure students see themselves in this plan and that educators recognize their impact, families feel confident in their children's experiences, and community voices are represented. The resulting strategic plan will serve as PYL-USD's North Star, clarifying our mission, vision, and beliefs, defining the resume of a PYL graduate, establishing district-wide goals and measures of success, and outlining clear strategies for action. All stakeholders are invited to participate through in-person input sessions or community surveys, with more information available on our website. And we're just beginning this process. I'm really excited to say we start our first sessions with students tomorrow, gathering information. And a huge thank you to Laura Lee Meza and Ella Mary Hickman, who will work hand in hand with me and actually sometimes solo on their own, because we have so many sessions planned for the next 3 months. Our goal is to reach out to as many stakeholders in our community who are interested in providing that voice. And we will have a website that will be very, very clear for folks to see all the trend data that we get, the voices, the input, so that folks can see what other people within our community are saying, and also kind of track how the trends are coming together and how that will shape the strategic planning process. So I'm excited about that beginning. Budget and financial outlook. California's Governor Gavin Newsom proposed a 26-27 budget, including increased education funding due to state revenues, while also noting long-term fiscal challenges ahead. Like many districts across the state, PYL-USD continues to face rising costs that are not fully matched by ongoing funding, including keeping up with cost of living, increased insurance expenses, the end of one-time funds, underfunded mandates, and declining enrollment. Because state funding is tied to average daily attendance, fewer students directly impacts the resources available to our schools. And as you know, we're building a budget stabilization plan, including proposed reductions for the 26-27 school year. In the months ahead, the district will carefully review its budget and explore prudent strategic adjustments to ensure long-term stability while prioritizing student learning and classroom support. As always, families can support our schools by encouraging regular student attendance, as funding is connected to being present each and every day. And students don't learn if they're not here. Legal positions. I'm excited to bring back to you part of a long-term responsible approach to fiscal stewardship. One item on tonight's agenda is the consideration of adding the 2 in-house legal counsel positions that we talked about a few months ago. As I discussed with you previously, since 2020, we have averaged up roughly $600,000 per year, with the high being $961,000 in 1 year for legal costs. The district's legal costs have increased over time due to a wide range of ongoing needs, not any single specific issue or event. Transitioning to in-house counsel represents a sound, proactive business decision that's expected to result in long-term cost savings, improved efficiency, and more consistent legal support. Having dedicated legal professionals who work alongside our team every day and who are fully integrated into PYL-USD will allow the district to respond more quickly, support staff more effectively, and continue to make thoughtful, informed decisions in service of our students and our schools. And those are all of my reports for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. Okay, that brings us now to public comment. And public comment is an opportunity for the public to provide input to the Board of Education. And during this period, the board members do not dialogue with the speakers or make comments regarding the information shared. But we will have staff make sure and get back to you as needed. So tonight we have 9 speakers, and that gives each of our speakers 3 minutes. And I'm going to call up the first 4 speakers, and then we'll move to the second group. Okay, so Sam Mayovich, Linda Cohn, Karen, and Shani Murray.
Waiting, Carrie. Congratulations.
Tonight, I want to speak directly to the board majority, Carrie, Marilyn, and Tricia, because this mess is yours. Back in May, you had a chance to do the right thing. You had a resolution in front of you that would have protected the district and the girls in girls' sports, meaning female athletes didn't have to compete against biological males. This isn't hateful, this isn't extreme. It's literally what Title IX was created for, equal protection and equal opportunity for women and girls. But instead of standing with the parents, students, and common sense, you chose politics. You chose to align yourselves with Gavin Newsom and CIF, and you chose to defy the direction coming from the administration. And now, reality has arrived. The U.S. Department of Education is investigating 18 districts in the entire nation, and PYL-USD is one of them. Let that sink in. One of thousands of districts nationwide, and PYL made the list. That's not leadership, that's not equity, that's failure. You didn't protect inclusion, you abandoned girls. And now our district is facing national scrutiny, potential legal consequences, and reputational damage, all because this board majority wanted to play activist politics with our schools. So here's the question the public deserves answered. Who exactly were you representing when you voted that way? Because it clearly wasn't the girls of this district. The board majority owns this, and the community will not forget it. And since you've decided not to announce it, as Linda mentioned, I will remind everyone that despite the millions of dollars spent on the witch hunt phony investigation against Dr. Chernus, the evidence proved that he was not guilty of the accusation. Even though you knew this, you continued to keep him suspended without comment because the truth was you personally just didn't like him. He wouldn't do yours or the teachers' union bidding, so you needed him gone in order to get back to the ideological agenda that's now destroying our district. Instead of increasing our enrollment by 400 like we did under Chernus, last number I heard is we are losing 400 since you took control. And I hear the price tag for the upgrade to the Valencia kitchen has now ballooned to well over $6 million. Just for a remodel, not a new build? Is it lined with gold? How many bids are allowed? What happened to the financial accountability and responsibility you all were clamoring about during the last election? You've gone suspiciously silent.
Hi, I'm Shani Murray. My youngest graduated last June, but I was a PYL parent for 20 years, and I still care deeply about this district. I've missed a few board meetings, but in October, I talked about how nothing positive comes from a board member attacking a student on social media. Today, I'm extending that message to include Leandra's divisive online campaign against fellow board members. This isn't about whether or not you agree with her stances. We all want what's best for our students, even if we have different ideas of what that means. But we should all strive to listen to each other and collaborate, not lie, attack, gaslight, and actively try to, quote, make people's blood boil, unquote, as Leandra once stated. It's counterproductive to maintaining a strong school district. I hope we can all agree that the best way to support PYL students is to work together. Especially during an election year, let's avoid toxic politics. Our students deserve better. Thank you.
Okay, our next 5 speakers, Julie Hyman, Denise May, Eric Guo, Heaven Casey, and the last one will be Naomi Blesofsky. So we'll do all 5 of those. So first Julie, then Denise, Eric, Heaven, and Naomi.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to address you. My name is Julie Hyman. I'm with a Jewish community group, JCAN, and with me is Rebbetzin Naomi Blesofsky of North County Chabad, as well as many members of the Jewish community who came out to express our profound thanks to this board and to the superintendent for recognizing International Holocaust Remembrance Day. It is a profoundly scary time for our community right now. I think I may have said that last time I addressed you all, and I'm sad to say it hasn't changed. I know a lot of people were afraid to decorate for Hanukkah in a way that made their house identifiably Jewish. And while it seemed like paranoia to some extent to me at the time, then we saw shots fired into a house that was decorated that way in neighboring Redlands. Last week, there was anti-Semitic graffiti that accompanied anti-American graffiti scrawled next to a middle school in a different part of Orange County. This stuff is popping up all the time, and so when elected officials take the time to recognize where things like this can lead, it's a comfort to our community. We appreciate your solidarity. And I will say, too, on a human level, as time goes on, we are losing a lot of the people that have direct memory of what happened. Within my own family, we have one of my favorite people is 95, and he was sent away from his parents in Germany when they realized they weren't going to make it. I don't know how he manages to be as optimistic and cheerful as he still remains, but he's 95 now. So we appreciate you all keeping the flame of their memory alive. And I will say one last thing, and maybe at the end of Rebitz and Naomi's comments, we can do this. Rebitz and Naomi pointed out to me that when people see photographic evidence, a picture of somebody doing a good deed, a mitzvah we call it, it encourages others to also do good deeds. And so we wondered whether it might be possible to take a picture with the community members that came out to thank you for this recognition. Thank you so much.
All right, I have to take off my glasses to read now. I'm that age. January is School Board Appreciation Month, and just like last January, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you for the time, effort, dedication, and care that you bring to serving our school community. I appreciate the work you do and the responsibilities that you carry. I also want to share how much your actions, both positive and negative, affect our students. Decisions made at the board level are not abstract. They are lived out in classrooms in very real ways. Students feel it through the resources available to them, the stability of their schools, and the support given to the teachers who work with them every single day. Teachers are at the heart of this experience. Throughout the school day, they build relationships, encourage students, notice when someone is struggling, and create spaces where students feel safe and valued. They adapt to different needs, manage classrooms with care, and often step into roles as advocates and problem solvers. Beyond instruction, teachers regularly spend their own time prepping lessons, providing feedback, communicating with families, and attending training sessions. Many go above and beyond what is required because they understand that their work has a lasting impact on their students' lives. My 4 children can attest to this fact, and they've been very lucky in PYL to have some amazing teachers. It is this dedication that is foundational to a positive school climate and student success. For those reasons, it is essential that the teachers feel consistently supported, especially by our school board. They need to feel respected and trusted. When teachers are empowered and valued, our students will thrive. I encourage the board to remember this and to make decisions that reflect the vital role teachers play and to prioritize policies that sustain and strengthen their ability to do this very important work. I appreciate your leadership, and I hope that compassion and commitment to those closest to our students remain central in every decision you guys make. Thank you so much for all your time, because I know it's not for the pay.
Good evening, Cabinet and Board. I am Eric Gao, and I am a student at Yorba High School, and I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the Wrangler, the newspaper publication program at Yorba High School, for approving our field trip to New York City this past October and November. It was a very educational experience, and we got to network with students from all over the East Coast and the Midwest to better improve our publication program. And beyond that, our agenda was packed with events such as a visit to the Paley Center, where we got to learn the ideas of advertisement and color theory and how that applies to our daily lives. And so on this School Board Appreciation Month. And on behalf of the Wrangler, just wanted to say thank you for supporting our program and for approving that field trip. Thank you and good evening.
Good evening. My name is Heaven Casey, and my son has been a student in this district since pre-K. I want to begin by saying how genuinely grateful I am for the care, dedication, and effort that many of our teachers, staff, and administrators show every day. Our family has benefited from this district, and I truly appreciate the services and education my son has received. Because I care so deeply about this district, I feel a responsibility to speak honestly where concerns arise. It has recently come to my attention that PYLUSD is under federal investigation related to Title IX and equal opportunities for female athletes. As a woman who was graduated in 2005 and was on the dance team, I find this deeply troubling. Girls work incredibly hard, often for years, to earn recognition in sports. I believe they deserve fair competition and opportunities based on biological differences that have long been acknowledged in athletics. This is not about exclusion. It is about fairness and protection for young women. I am also concerned by what many students themselves have been courageously expressing. I've seen videos respectfully of students asking to keep boys and girls sports separate, to maintain single-sex bathrooms, and to keep political and ideological symbols such as pride flags out of school spaces. This is a battle cry, and these children are asking to feel safe, heard, and focused on learning. Schools should be places of education, not ideological influence. Teaching tolerance does not require exposing children to topics they are not developmentally ready for, nor does it require promoting any political or social ideology. In my view, this type of exposure risks desensitizing children rather than protecting them. I'm asking the board to take time for real introspection. What legacy are we leaving behind? Are we creating an environment where children are free to think critically, learn factual history, and feel safe expressing viewpoints without fear of judgment or political pressure? We should be teaching real factual history, acknowledging the struggles of all races and cultures, recognizing hardship, resilience, and growth, without telling children that one group must carry guilt or that another is inherently oppressed. As a person of faith, I also ask this question: what would it look like to lead with wisdom, humility, and moral clarity? Revival does not come through division, but through courage, accountability, and unity. In closing, I believe we can do better together, and we can protect girls' sports, maintain appropriate boundaries in school facilities, keep politics and ideology out of classrooms, focus on academic excellence, mental health, and character.
Thank you very much for your comments. Next, please.
May God continue to bless this school district.
Hi, good evening. My name is Naomi Blasevsky. I'm a representative of the Chabad of North Orange County, just down the road. I came here to show our appreciation for your efforts to bring Holocaust memorial and remembrance to our community, but I also want to first start that I am a mother who received services from this school district, and I'm forever grateful. You guys changed my son's life in a way that is beyond measure. You have no idea what you guys did when he was a little kid, so that's a side thing. But I want to say that a little bit of light dispels darkness, and tonight we saw it with our quick to act security guard, Mr. Lee over there, who was so quick to show us that just a little bit of light dispels the darkness, and that's what we're all here for. We're here to bring clear education to the children of our community that the Holocaust, we will not forget it. Our community member who at age 102 years old, Dr. Jacob Eisenbach, he just passed away last month. He was a synagogue attendee until his death, up until 2 weeks before his death. And his entire life was about that we should not have this happen again to anyone. And he spoke, and he even spoke in our school district at Esperanza a couple of years back. and I am not reading my speech, I'm just speaking from the heart. Thank you guys for making this important to our students, and they will know that in the future we cannot repeat what happened. We have to go forward and live together in peace and harmony, and thank you guys for what you're doing here.
Okay, that concludes public comment. Thank you to everybody who came and shared their comments. Okay, we moved this item already up to the beginning, so we are going to next move to 19.2, establishing board policy 5141.7, mental health first reading. Need a motion and a second, please.
I'll make a motion to establish board policy 5141.7, mental health first reading.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Quintero, second by Mrs. Anderson. Before I turn it over to Mrs. Gray, Dr. Kim, would you like to start us off?
No, I'm going to kick it straight to her and have her kick us off. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. We will be introducing a proposed new policy for your consideration, which is Board Policy 5145.7, mental health. This policy was developed in alignment with Senate Bill 153, which requires school districts to support student mental health through prevention, awareness, early identification, and access to appropriate services. So the intent of this legislation and the proposed policy that you'll hear tonight provides guidance for supporting student mental health within our school system. The policy provides clear guidance for supporting student mental health within PYL and the ongoing commitment, and also our multi-tiered systems of support. Additionally, it ensures legal requirements while giving students the support they need to thrive both academically and socially. So Dr. Baldwin Pedraza, of the Director of Student Services, will walk you through the details of the policy and answer any questions you have.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Gray. Good evening, Board President Buck, trustees, Dr. Kim, and executive cabinet members. As Mrs. Gray mentioned, tonight I'm bringing forward Board Policy 5141.7 on student mental health, which has been developed in response to Senate Bill 153 and related to Education Code for how school districts support student mental health and behavioral health. SB 153 reflects recognition that student mental health is directly connected to academic success, school engagement, and overall well-being. It emphasizes early identification, prevention, access to services, staff training, and clear referral protocols, while also reinforcing alignment with existing legal protections such as Section 504 and IDEA. This proposed policy establishes and reinforces PYL-USD's commitment to supporting student mental health through a comprehensive and preventative approach. It outlines our focus on reducing stigma, increasing student connectedness, building resilience and coping skills, and ensuring students and families know how to access mental health support both on our school campuses and in the community. The policy also formalizes expectations around staff training and linking students to appropriate services, includes requirements for regular communication to students and families, the use of age-appropriate, culturally responsive mental health posters at our school sites, and the ability to utilize telehealth services when appropriate. Importantly, this policy organizes and clarifies our responsibilities, aligns our practices with current ed code, and provides a strong framework to guide administrative procedures and implementation. Overall, the policy affirms a commitment to student mental health as an essential component of safety and student success in PYL-USD. Thank you. If there's any questions about the board policy?
Yeah. Thank you so much for this, and I like how it outlines what we need to do. My question is, because this is a state law, we have been doing mental health here in the district for quite some time and expanding. But because it became a law, is there funding now coming from the state?
It's a big question, right? Yeah. Yes, there has been, there was talk about, of course, in order to make sure all these things happen, allocating funds to do this. It's still to be seen if there's going to be anything more added, but we are utilizing our existing funding. We're not going to let that hold us back. We're looking at, if you remember before, some of the capacity grant funding that we have through the CYBHI, the Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative. And so we're looking at ways, if you remember, we did a presentation about potentially a billing system as well, too, that we're looking at. So we're looking at all ways that we can help and sustain our own mental health supports and services and expand, as you had mentioned, as well, too, because that's something that we want to do as well.
Okay, is the county providing any grants? Because in here it says to look, is there anything new besides what we're currently using?
Not at the moment, but we are taking a look at, and still communicating with the county to see what opportunities will be available for, to help maybe sustain these initiatives. But we are looking at, and many of our schools are utilizing some of the funds through the MTSS grant, if you remember. So taking a look at utilizing those funds as well too, to help with training, as well as we're in the midst of training right now in terms of looking at restorative practices as well too, and mental health first aid.
Okay, one last question.
Sure.
It talks in here about how our health and our education for health education will cover all the new changes. Have we looked at our current program to make sure it's aligned?
Yeah, I had a discussion earlier with our director of educational services as well to take a look at the pacing guides in terms of the health courses, both at the middle school and the high school. And it looks to me it looks like everything is essentially covered. But of course, we'll take a look even deeper to see if there's anything we need to further supplement and provide, for our teachers and for our students.
Okay. And then this is just a side note. Board Policy 6143 is mentioned in this board policy. And when I looked it up and read it, the last time it was updated was 1991. So we might want to put that on a future agenda.
I've been going through our policies ongoing, and I stopped counting how many were written before the year 2000. So we have quite a bit of work to do in that space.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for bringing this forward and
Absolutely.
for all your hard work.
Yeah.
For everyone's.
Looks like nobody else has any comments, so we're going to take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
And student board member? Aye, perfect. So that's, motion carries 5-0 plus 1. Okay, next, I'd like a motion for our annual independent audit report.
I'll make a motion to accept the annual independent audit report for the 2024-2025 fiscal year.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Anderson, second by Mr. Frazier. Before I turn it over to Mr. Papalardo, Dr. Kim, would you like to start us off?
I just want to thank the staff of Niagara and Niagara for being here with us this evening. Thank you. And thank you to Dr. Papalardo for working with the staff there to bring this to us tonight. And I'm going to just hand it to him. He's got a lot more background with this than I do.
So I'd just like to introduce Mr. Jeff Nigro of Nigro, who is our external auditor, as you know. And while I've been here about a month, I think I met Jeff somewhere around 2000 or so. So it's been about 26 years, Jeff.
Our paths have crossed a few times.
A few times we've crisscrossed. Anyway, Jeff is here.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here tonight to present the 24-25 fiscal year audit report. And I think some of you have probably heard this spiel before, but I'm going to give it fresh from scratch, just like as if you'd never heard it. I like to talk about really what the audit is. I think sometimes people have a misconception. They hear the word audit, and it stirs up a lot of sort of negative images. People think about IRS audits, or you think about forensic audits. You see movies or TV shows where people coming into buildings with suits and dark sunglasses and carrying people out in handcuffs and boxes of papers and stuff like that. And this is nothing exciting like that, unfortunately. So this is just your annual audit required by the Education Code. It's just, in my words, it's similar to just going to your doctor for your annual physical, is really what it is. So what is the objective of this? It's for us to give an independent opinion on your financial statements, and also it's a lot of compliance areas that we have to look at. The state audit guide comes out every year and lists all these various programs that they want us to audit. And the audit used to be mostly in the business office, dealing with the accountants and the fiscal people. And now, in addition to that, we get to spend a lot of time with other folks in other departments, because the state has us looking at things like looking at your LCAP and looking at school accountability report cards and looking at your ELOP programs and class pupil to student or pupil to teacher ratios and things like that have nothing to do with accounting. So in addition to that laundry list, which gets expanded every year, we have to look at a sampling of your federal programs as well. So the audit's really expanded over the years to include a lot more things than just looking at debits and credits. But in the beginning of the audit report, our primary objective is to give an opinion on your financial statement. So back in September, you got a set of unaudited financials. We look at those numbers, and ultimately in our report, we're giving what's called an unmodified opinion. That's a clean opinion, and that's what you want to receive from your auditor. That's saying that the financial statements are in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles without exception. Okay, so that's good news. There's a lot of information in this report. I'm not going to go through it all. I'm sure if you need help sleeping at night, you can read through it all. But there's just a lot of information in there about the financial statements, about governmental accounting, how different types of transactions are accounted for. So I'm happy to go into any of that more if you'd like, but I think you have other things on the agenda tonight as well. The other thing that most people are interested in the audit, I think most people when they get the audit report flip right to the back because they want to see if there were any findings. I'm pleased to report that there were no findings related to financial statement accounting or reporting, so nothing about internal controls. There were no findings related to your federal programs. And while there were 2 findings related to state compliance areas, the good news is that neither of them had any sort of financial impact. A lot of state compliance areas these days have financial penalties tied to them for non-compliance. These were very minor things that almost seem ridiculous to report, other than the fact that we have to report any discrepancy, even if it's a very minor, on a school accountability report card. So those are in there. And then we have a page in the report where we report back on the status of prior year's audit findings, and those are reported in here. And both of those prior findings were corrected during the year. So similarly, next year's audit will be reporting back on the status of these 2. Anyway, that's a real quick summary of the audit. I'm happy to answer any more detailed questions if you have them.
Yeah, questions about the findings, the recommendations rather, for the district office and for the ASB, the controls that are could be strengthened. I think they're the words that's used. I thought I remember last year that this was recommended as well, but I don't see it in prior year findings.
Yeah, so these are what we call management comments. But they're sort of below the level of findings. They don't require, in other words, they don't rise to the significant level of being findings, and only findings are having to be repeated in the following year. These are just observations we made when we went out to the school sites to do our ASB work.
Got it. Yeah, because these, district office observation and ASB observation, I feel like I've seen these at least in the last 2 years, and possibly further back.
Yeah, they're very common.
Very common.
Yeah, especially in the ASB world, every year there's different people handling the books, there's different types of transactions, so it's very common to have those types of things.
Yeah.
And it's, we feel that, again, they're not as significant as findings, but we still think they merit attention, that they'll be addressed.
Yeah.
And I should note, I don't know if you're all aware, but back in October, I did a presentation in this very room for the ASBs for the district, so it was part of an ongoing training program that we're doing with them as well. So it's trying to just re-emphasize those internal controls. So that was at the beginning of the current school year, so hopefully a lot of that resonated too.
Yeah, no, I guess the reason I point this out is because we have had in the past some very large issues through the ASB funds, specifically embezzlement at Esperanza.
Yeah.
And just I want to make sure that we're paying attention to this and we make sure we put in all the controls needed. And I think that we're training the ASB staff and students. It's not only good for this, but it's also good for life skills. and just understanding what all those controls mean. So I want to make sure that I just emphasize that that needs to be focused on. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Are you able to share with us, because we've asked for audits of ASB and we've only been given like a budget of like, and so it doesn't give us like any of the information, but I know that on here it said that there was like 14 different like unauthorized transactions or unauthorized movement of money or funds or something like that.
Yeah, well, these weren't unauthorized. These were, so what happened in these exceptions you're seeing here was that the purchases were approved by the student council after they had already been obligated.
Are
So in
they already
other wor-
spent, right?
Right. So that's what the weakness in control is.
Right.
So it's more of a recommendation that, they need to make sure they go through and get proper approvals before they actually go out and make the purchases.
Well, because it would be kind of like us spending money and then a couple board meetings later approving the money
Asking
that we
for
spent.
permission to spend it, yes.
Exactly. Do you have any recommendations for like what other school districts are doing? Like, do they ever send in maybe like a district office employee to like observe the classrooms or are they spending? Because it seems like we have the students and we have a teacher that's in charge of huge sums of money. And so is there ever school districts that, maybe when they are going to approve the money or approve these transactions, that there is a different level of oversight?
Right. Lots of districts have lots of different ways of overseeing ASBs. In my experience, the most successful ASB operations have a lot of assistance at the district level, a lot of oversight, monitoring, assistance. But in terms of, I've seen it very extreme where the district office will have authorization over all the transactions. So they have a checkbook for every school, so the schools can't even write their own checks. There's cost benefit of that, because that means creating another position at the district office. That means, more of budget towards the district office, more administration, but it does provide that level of oversight. So there's lots of different ways of approaching it.
I don't think John has that much to do, so.
What really helps in this area is the training and regular training, sending the ASB staff to training, and there's a lot of organizations, including our auditor, who provides the training. So that's what I've seen most successful in districts to sort of change the culture at the school site level is they're doing a lot of things, right? And sometimes they're not accountants. And so it's the training of the teachers, of the classified staff that are overseeing it at the school site level. So I was glad to see that, we did provide a training, but I think it's the ongoing regular training that we will start to implement.
And we've implemented a technology platform to consolidate that data, correct? Across the ASBs. Well, I should say we should have.
Yeah, I think that's my understanding as well,
Yeah.
is that they changed that.
It was pre-John, but yeah.
5 weeks and counting.
Just to clarify as well, there's not just one person at the school site that is in charge of ASB funds. It goes through multiple channels,
And
correct?
that's a very good point, because, and when we do our training, I always ask the group, like, who's here, or do we have, so we had administrators, we had advisors, we had accountants, so people from all walks, because it does take a team effort. It really does need to come from the top down. Everybody has to be on the same page and taking internal controls seriously.
I have a financial question. Based at looking at not only our audit, but all the other audits you review in the past, is there any financial indicators that the board should be watching for or worried about in the next 3 to 5 years? Is there anything that you've seen?
Nothing that you don't already know about. I mean, declining enrollment's always a big concern. The state budget is by far the most impactful thing on your budget, as Dr. Papalardo would tell you. It's from an audit standpoint, there's been traditionally, this is our 6th year doing the audit for the district. There's been a lot of changes in the fiscal office, but there's been some consistency as well. But there's never been anything that really caused us real serious alarm. We're not in the business of hiding anything from you. You hire us to tell you what's going on. So, I think that you're on a good path, and I think, just maintain, but just you gotta, again, declining enrollment and that state budget. Those are the things that are going to really affect your finances long term.
Thank you.
Can you just confirm that, or let us know how the staff was? Did you have access to everything you needed? Was it timely? Just a little feedback on.
Yeah, in fact, this would be a great time to thank Fong Tran, who was very helpful because she was one consistent presence through the whole audit. There was a lot of turnover, obviously, in business with the interim CBO and some of the changes in positions in that office did create some challenges, but there was never any sort of impediments for us to be able to get information. And so the team was fantastic about working with us and cooperative. And so even despite the fact that we had to extend several of our audits because of, there were some other issues in play this last year, but the district was able to get us everything we needed despite having more things to audit this year. So,
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, so with that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
And student board member?
Aye.
Perfect. Okay. Motion carried 5-0 with an aye from our student board member.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that takes us to 20.2. If I could get a motion in a second.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the PAR Supplementary Retirement Plan effective January 21st, 2026 through June 30th, 2026. Upon approval, all associated resignation retirements of enrolled employees are confirmed and may not be withdrawn.
I'll second.
Right on.
That was exactly the same. So I'm going to go with an order, and so the next one I'm going to call on Mrs. Blades.
Well, I'm not going to second again, so don't worry.
That was the last one.
Oh, are we getting that close? Okay, so motion by Mrs. Quintero, second by Mrs. Anderson. And before I turn it over to Dr. Papalardo again, I'll pass it to Dr. Kim for comments.
I want to thank our business services team for the work that they did in this space, and certainly as we've heard from Dr. Papalardo, it is incredible to see the level of projection and the accuracy that our partners in this work have been able to provide to us, and then to see it come to reality. In talking with staff members, there has been that reflection of, I didn't think I'd see it during my career. So I'm grateful that we were able to provide this as an opportunity for our staff and for our district overall. And I do think that it will be a benefit to the district, especially as we're facing some budget stabilization work that we need to do. And as we look at declining enrollment, as our auditor just pointed out, we've got some work to do to make sure that we're able to adopt a balanced budget. And in looking at such, this is certainly one of those pieces that is going to help in that space. I was grateful for the opportunity to speak with our PTA leaders. As many of them, I had the opportunity to explain to them what a supplementary retirement plan is and how it benefits the district. And so it was a nice opportunity for me to check my own understanding and explain to folks the benefit of that to the district as well as the benefit to our employees. So I'm excited that we're able to bring this to fruition. So thank you.
I would just say that the board approved going out and looking at this somewhere in late October, October 21st. It was approved, the window opened the next day for retirements. At the time, PARS, Public Agency Retirement Services, it's been around nearly 40 years, stated that there were 690 eligible employees within the district, and they were projecting about 139 to take this. It closed a couple of weeks ago, and 137 people actually took it. So nearly 20% of the eligible employees did take this. So that will provide the district a savings, because we have, as we know, we have salary schedules, and the more years of service you have, the higher you go on that schedule, the more money. And as we have the people at the top of the range retiring or leaving the district, then we're rehiring, usually not with 25 to 30 years of experience. So there will be some significant savings. Right now, we're projecting close to around $2.5 million in savings for next year. And with that 137, with declining enrollment, with our fiscal stability plan looking at next year, we will be rehiring numbers of people, and as Chad comes on here in a couple of weeks, he and I will work together closely with educational services staff on staffing for next year and rehiring a number of positions. The program worked really well as designed, and I thank Joan Velasco, my predecessor, for bringing them here, and we're ready to go with this program.
Anybody comments?
Thank you, Joan, wherever you may be.
That's what I was going to say, Joan.
Thank you, Joan.
Don't look up. She's somewhere.
probably at
She's
home.
not here. Don't look
Look
up.
at the camera.
Come on, Marilyn.
She's drinking
Southeast.
wine in Temecula. She's in a bar going, thank God I'm not there.
Okay. All right. With that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, perfect. It's hard for, the glasses are new with all this, so it's really hard for me to see unless I do this. So I appreciate the audio. Okay, so motion carries 5-0 with an aye from our student board member.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And congratulations to all of those out there that will be announcing your retirement soon. We'll miss you, but we're thrilled for you. Okay, next, 21.1, motion and a second, please.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 25-22, dedicating February 2026 as Career and Technical Education Month.
I will second that.
All right, perfect. So motion by Mr. Frazier and second by Mrs. Blades. Before I turn it over to Dr. Will Gray, would you like to make a comment?
Yes.
Set us up.
Thank you. As Mr. Frazier just indicated, February does mark Career and Technical Education Month. It's a nationwide initiative aimed at raising awareness of the vital role of career and technical education and what role it plays in equipping students with the skills needed for high-demand careers. Spearheaded by the Association for Career and Technical Education, or ACTE, this month-long observation underscores the value of CTE programs and emphasizes the collaborative effort of educators, industry partners, and communities in fostering workforce development. So I'm going to ask Dr. Will Gray, our Executive Director of College and Career Readiness, to present the CTE Education Resolution.
Thank you, President Buck, trustees, and Superintendent Dr. Kim, and Executive Cabinet. I'm humbled to be here for this formal recognition of the work our CTE teachers are doing in the classrooms around the district. I would like to thank our CTE teacher on special assignment, Pia Ribby, who's currently filming me, so I hope I look good. And our partners, the North Orange County ROP. They're about half of our CTE teaching staff, so my thanks to them. To put some numbers to the work that these teachers do, around 40% of our high schoolers are taking a CTE course at any one time, and more than 27% of the graduating class of 2025 finished as pathway completers. So we're trying to get those numbers even higher. You might have seen our advertising banners in the lobby, and those are present at every elementary and middle school to get that interest going. So with that being said, our resolution for today. Whereas February 1st through February 28th, 2026 has been designated Career and Technical Education Month by the Association for Career and Technical Education, and whereas profound economic and technological changes in our society are rapidly reflected in the structure and nature of work, thereby placing new and additional responsibilities on our educational system, and whereas career and technical education prepares students to be college and career ready by providing core academic skills, employability skills, and technical job-specific skills, and giving all students leadership opportunities in their fields and in their communities. And whereas the ever-increasing cooperative efforts of career and technical educators, business, and industry stimulate the growth and vitality of our local economy and that of the entire nation by preparing graduates for career fields forecast to experience the largest and fastest growth in the next decade. Now therefore be it resolved that the Placentia-Yorba Linda Unified School District Board of Education does hereby support and designate February 1st through February 28th, 2026 to be Career and Technical Education Month. Thank you.
Can I make a quick comment? One of the things I would like to dig into, and I'm going to bring back to you all, one of the most surprising data points that I found in my previous district is when we looked at the data on our students who had recently graduated that had completed a CTE pathway. The graduation rate, I don't care which way you sliced it, whether you looked at male, female, whether you looked at students of poverty, whether you looked at students who'd experienced a disability, the graduation rate was far and above the district overall graduation average. So it is not just a matter of giving students an opportunity to pursue something that they have an interest in, but when they are engaged in CTE learning and complete a pathway, overall nationally we're finding that the data is off the charts in terms of students' a success. So certainly that's a data point that I want to dig into here in our district and hope to bring back to you guys soon.
I like to hear that. As a CTE and North Orange County RLP representative, I really appreciate this particular resolution too. So, anybody else have any comments? Okay, with that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Great. And motion carries 5-0 with an aye from our student board member. Okay, that brings us to our action items in human resources. We'll start with 22.1, and I'll make the motion since there's some detail in it, and then we'll go from there. So I'd like to make a motion pursuant to Government Code 54953 to approve the employment contract for Chad McGough as Assistant Superintendent of Human Services, providing a term of February 2nd, 2026 through June 30th, 2028. And 2, the assistant superintendent's salary shall be $273,398, paid in 12 monthly payments. And 3, the assistant superintendent shall receive a $350 per month car allowance. And 4, during the term of his contract, the assistant superintendent shall be entitled to such health and other fringe benefits provided to all other certificated employees of the district. And I need a second, please.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Dr. Kim, do you have any comments?
No, my comments came earlier, so thank you.
Great. All right. Any other comments, questions?
But could we hear your comments? Sure. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I was loud.
Okay, we'll take a vote on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. Thank you so much. And that motion carries 5-0 with an aye from our student board member. Welcome officially. And for 22.2, I'd like to make a motion pursuant to Government Code 54953 to approve the amendment for the contract for Renee Gray, the Assistant Superintendent of Student Support Services. 1, the Assistant Superintendent will receive a salary increase to coincide with the new salary schedule for Executive Cabinet, retroactive to November 1st, 2025. And 2, the salary placement is step 3. $247,685 prorated for the fiscal year, and number 3, except as in modified herein, all remaining terms and conditions of the contract shall remain in full force and effect. And I need a second, please. Okay, Dr. Kim, any comments?
Just a quick one. Just thank you. This board did approve a new salary schedule for management back in November. And so we had not had the opportunity yet to place Ms. Gray on that salary schedule, whereas our new members of our cabinet were placed on that schedule. So thank you. This is an opportunity for us to place her on that schedule as appropriate with her colleagues.
The only thing changing in this is the pay, not the rest of her contract.
Correct.
So she still has a supermajority?
She still has, yes, all the same language that she had in place.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, any comments?
And her contract expires in
June 30th of 2026.
And the retro pay won't count towards 2025 taxes, so that's a good thing. Nice. You're welcome.
Says the tax man.
Okay, all those in favor, let's take the vote.
Aye.
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 All right, motion carries 5-0 with an aye from our student board member. Okay, that brings us to consent calendar, and actions proposed for the consent calendar items are consistent with approved practices for the district and are deemed routine in nature. The trustees receive board agenda backup information in advance of the scheduled meetings and are prepared to vote on the knowledge of the block vote items. Is there anybody that wants to pull any of the items?
Yes, I'd like to pull 25.1, 25.5, and 27.1.
Anyone else? Okay. 25.1, 25.5, and 27.1?
Yes.
Okay, could we have a motion for the remainder of the items?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar for the remaining items.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Anderson, second by Mrs. Quintero. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. And that vote carries 5-0 with an aye from our student board member. And we'll go with 25.1.
I'll make a motion to approve the following 2 independent contractor agreements as listed in accordance with board policy number 4124, retention of consultants. And the ones that I would like to pull is the Leadership Lab and also the Girls Incorporated.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Okay, so I just have a question about the Leadership Lab because I can't find them anywhere online, and the ones that I am finding, it looks like it is a political group that does organize like walking for political events, and then we're looking around trying to see who it is that these people are. We cannot find it anywhere.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Dr. Gray to join us. Is Will still here?
He's up there.
There you are. Okay, I was going to say, wait, where did he go? I asked
if
the
we
same
want-
question.
Yeah, if we want students to know how to walk, I'm sure we can do
It's
it
not
for
the same
free.
organization, so thank you. I asked that same question as we looked it up, and it is not the same organization that you found online. So I'm going to ask him to speak to that.
Yeah, thank you. So as you noted, a cursory Google search leads to very different organizations, specifically politically affiliated, which wouldn't be appropriate to spend public funds on. A little bit of history. So we have partnered with CASTLE, the school leadership organization, for years, and they decided to stop doing leadership days. And so the same staff members that organized and actually presented at the middle school leadership days created their own company, and they are called Leadership Lab, and it started in October, and so their web presence isn't quite as robust, and so we did pass on that feedback to them to make sure to include your URL so that no other districts or schools need to have these clarifying comments. Actually, students from our most recent day at Valencia High School are the pictures on their website. They were able to send that to us. I can pass it on to the board so you can check it out in more detail, but it is not the ones that pop up for political organizing and voting and stuff. That's not appropriate for what we want to do.
Perfect. And they're also not going to have to put toilet paper and make dresses and go down runways. That's not the same company that. Well, no, this did happen at those events, so that's what I'm asking.
I'll have to
It's
follow up
valid.
about that. Yeah.
He worked for
Mhm.
Council as well. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And do we need to approve them both because it's under the same number? Or
Yes.
so do I go to the next one?
Mhm.
Okay. So then the next one was the Girls Incorporated. And so this was very interesting to me, and I just wanted to make sure that this was just, this is geared towards girls only. And so I wanted to make sure that we were only allowing girls into this, and so we wouldn't be in violation of Title IX. Because if we're going to allow males who identify as women into this, I would not be willing to pay a bunch of money if it's not just intentionally towards girls, and we would be violating Title IX again.
Thank you. I'm phoning a friend.
Maybe could you come
You
up
wanna
and
come up
speak
here?
at the podium?
Yeah.
I guess as he's coming up, it's just so people in the audience know, this is, it's called Girls Inc. of Orange County. and it basically is just about leadership programs for girls, all kinds of STEM, literacy, entrepreneurship, and life skills. And so that's what my question would
So
be.
can you repeat your question again, please?
My question is that this is geared towards girls, but as we've seen in the last year, is sometimes girls, things that are geared towards girls, we have men into the program. So are we allowing that in this program? Because I don't think our district should pay money into a program if we're going to allow men or male students to also partake in this program.
Okay, that's
I think
good.
we should find a program that would be leadership for both boys and girls.
Right. So Girls Inc. is a returning vendor that we've used for the past years. They're also a vendor that has a lot of, I would say, work here in our district as well. But for our program for the expanded learning, it's open to all students.
So why is it called Girls Inc. and geared
That's
towards
the name
girls?
of their company, but they are open to all students.
So there's only girls on their website. But it's open to all
cannot
students?
say what they have on the website as far as who they hire, but I know for our program, for the expanded learning program, we have all students in the classroom.
So their website has only girls on them in the classes.
Again, I can't speak to what they put on their website as having all girls, but I could share openly that we have all students in the classroom.
Can I give at least some insight from previous districts that I've worked in? I know that, yes, there are organizations, and this one is one of them, that their organizational name is Girls Inc., but if they teach general leadership skills, if we were to say, and I'm going to give an example, when we've offered welding courses and say we're only going to allow girls in it, we run the risk of not getting funding because it is a violation of Title IX. So in terms of leadership skills, in terms of if we offer like after-school programming, we can offer it with an organization that's called Girls Inc. But if we were to say it's only available to one group, there's certain funding that we are in violation of Title IX and could put at risk in that way.
It just seems kind of confusing.
It seems so it's so confusing.
I think it's just confusing because it's their name. They primarily started out just serving girls, but their leadership expands beyond that. And so I appreciate knowing that it's open for any leaders in our after-school program.
Well, it just, I mean, the website says it starts with girls.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just,
It's not.
like, that's their purpose. They're a 501. It's interesting. It's very confusing.
We inquired that as well in the beginning before we even brought them on as a vendor. We looked at that and we had conversations with them, but they serve all students. And they're very clear about that. And we know because it's happening now in our after-school programs.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
And opposed?
I'm going to say no.
I don't even know what to say. I just abstain. I don't even understand.
And student board member?
I'm going to say no.
Okay. So we have a motion carries 3, 1, and 1, plus a no from our student board member. Okay, next one was 25.5.
Make a motion to approve the agreement with Parent Institute for Quality Education to implement their English Learner Family Engagement Program at 5 school sites during the spring semester of the 2025 to 2026 school year.
Second.
Okay, so this is, I just needed to understand this better because I remember when we were talking about this before, our district had opened up nights like these for English learner and their families, or the families, the parents, and we were getting such a low attendance rate. And so right here it says that this is costing us $70,000 for an 8-week series. And I just don't understand why we would spend $70,000. It says that it's for the parents it says it offers English and Spanish that builds parent capacity and understanding the U.S. school system, LPAC and reclassification, academic expectations, social emotional learning, and family advocacy. And then it says it includes parent, family, and community engagement activities that support English learner parents and strengthen their children's English language development and academic achievement. And so it's being based on, that doesn't say where it will be because that's based on stakeholder input. And so I guess my thing, I kind of looked through a lot more of it, and I just don't understand why we would spend $70,000 when we can't even, when in the past we've gotten such zero attendance.
I'm going to ask our staff to step in and kind of provide some insight, but I'm going to guess, based on some of my previous experience through previous years, is that there is specific restricted funding that is designated specifically for these types of programming, especially in our title schools. So I'm going to ask our staff to step in and help provide some context there.
So that was my next question. Is there funding? Can we use this funding, and can we have it geared more towards students and like use the funding for the kids that are in the classroom? Because if the parents aren't going to show up after school hours, we're going to send $70,000. I would rather just put it towards our students and know that the money will be used.
That's a great question. For Title III, this is a Title III grant. We have two federal grants. The first one is a Title III English learner, and that is directly supporting our students. So that Title III English learner grant does support what you just asked. This is a second grant, and this is a Title III immigrant grant, and this is for the 24-25 allocation. So there are, as Dr. Kim said, there's regulations or things that we can and can't spend on this, and one of the activities is family engagement. As you mentioned, attendance, we partnered with PK last year and held sessions at 5 Title I schools for family literacy, and it was actually very successful. They came out, parents enjoyed it. We had good turnout, and that's because of the community liaisons at each of these school sites that communicated with families and kind of invited them, and there was a personal invite. We will do the same. If it's approved, then I'll work with the principals to determine at all our school sites who would participate.
Okay, and then what do we do with, because this is only English and Spanish, so what do we do with the other families in our district? We have a high Asian population. How are we serving them?
Yeah, if we, once we gather some of the data on who will attend, we do have a translation service that we can provide, and so we can invite them as well. The translation services are willing to come out and support those families that need additional, other than Spanish.
So even though this just says this only is geared towards English and Spanish, this can actually be geared toward in Asian languages as well?
Yeah, so we'll, for example, if there's a need for Mandarin or Chinese, the class will be conducted in English, and then we'll have an interpreter. We have interpreting devices that we utilize. So it's accessible for all languages.
Okay.
I just want to add that I was able to attend Topaz's back to school night this last year, and it was exciting to see how much, like you said, the community liaison and the principals have, or the principal there has engaged parents. She was telling me before that they wouldn't even set out chairs for the parent meeting before back to school night because not many attended. And this year it was basically standing room only from what I saw. I was kind of on the side. Parents were standing, the seats were completely full. So I'm pretty confident that they will take advantage of this program as well. As for the reaching out to the English learner families, it's definitely one thing we need to look at, because looking at our data from last month, that's an area of our gap that we're learning gap that we're talking about, and that is one big area that we need to address. So thank you for bringing this to the schools. And basically, too, in regards to any other languages, when it comes to language acquisition, no matter what language it is, the methods are usually the same. They're pretty effective. And when you get that methodology taught to the families, and especially with the LPAC and needing to reclassify those students, it's really important you engage the parents and explain to them how important it is. So no matter what language it is, like I said, the strategies are similar and very important for families and teachers and the students to know about. So thank you very much for bringing that.
Absolutely. DLAC has been very instrumental in asking and asking for and requesting these types of events. And so we're always just trying to improve. And as Mrs. Blade mentioned, attendance is an important piece, because it is quite a bit of money to have low attendance. So our staff is working really hard to invite. And as I mentioned before, the community liaisons are really making a personal invitation to these families. And through DLAC next Monday, we'll remind them that this is coming to a school near them. So I do also want to clarify, this won't be only at Title I school sites. We'll have 5 school sites. So perhaps maybe a Fairmont or a Glenview as a host site so that families that live in that area can participate. So
That
we're
would be
going to
great.
spread the 5 sessions through proximity of where those English learner families reside so that there's equitable access for these programs.
Thank you. You read my mind.
I was just going to say, last year I attended one of the family nights at Melrose, and it was very well attended. There was lots of parents and children. They had classes for the parents that they rotated through, childcare offered. They had in their gym, they had resources for parents. So I think these nights are very valuable, and our community in general really enjoys attending.
Thank you. And thank you for all the comments and the clarification to make sure that we're spending our money wisely and also bringing in parents because parent engagement is incredibly important. Okay, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Motion carries 5-0 plus 1. And last, 27.1.
I'll make a motion to approve the job description and salary schedule for on-site legal counsel.
Second.
So I pulled this just because I thought that was going to be attached was our last 3 years of the bills that we've had for the lawyers, and I didn't see it on here. Unless I'm missing it.
No, the spreadsheet that I had from Ms. Velasco, I shared with you guys in one of the Friday updates. I didn't attach it here. I just attached the legal counsel job description and the management salary schedule, but I can include it again this Friday.
Okay.
If that works for
And
you.
then we can distribute it out to the community.
Yeah, it's not, I was just thinking through, it's not legally protected information. It's something that you can use and see. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Okay. And then another thing too I wanted to bring up is in the time being, there was an incident in closed session with our current legal counsel, and I had brought it up that I didn't feel it was appropriate to have him on as counsel any longer based on what had happened. And so it was supposed to come before the board. Musarino said that he had talked to Marilyn Anderson and it would be put on the board agenda to come before the board to have the person removed. And it hasn't come before. And so I had already talked to an attorney who was going to represent me and file a complaint against the lawyer and the law firm. But I said, look, if we're just going to do this quietly, make it go away, then I'm not going to file anything. But if we're going to continue on, and I don't know when this person's going to be hired, I just don't feel comfortable with the way that he was hired. I don't feel comfortable with the way that he's handled our district in the last year. I don't feel comfortable that we spent in 7 months $340,000 on his law firm. I don't feel comfortable with the way that he has had treatment towards me. I don't feel comfortable that he stalks my social media and that he looks at my Instagram stories and he comments and sends me messages. I don't feel that that's appropriate for our legal counsel, and yet I can't get it on the agenda to remove him. So I would like it to be placed on the next board agenda to not have him just because, or I am going to file something because I do feel strongly about what happened. I don't feel it's appropriate. And I know from other board members in other districts, he is also looking at their social medias, and because that's how I knew to go look. Because they said, oh, check your social media, he's watching you. So I just don't feel it's appropriate. When we had Orbach, Kevin Henderson, I didn't have to worry about somebody commenting or looking at my stuff. I didn't have to worry about not being able to get information. I didn't have to worry about all this stuff. So I would like that to be on the next board agenda.
Okay, anybody else have any comments?
How quickly do you anticipate filling this position? I mean, because I'm very excited about it. Is why.
Me too. I intend to get it flown fairly quickly because I just needed it approved, given that it was a new position. Looking at board policy, it's certainly something as superintendent, I have the ability to put it together, but given its new role and its high profile and its, the role's potential support of the board, I really wanted you all to be involved in the decision and the vote of these two job descriptions specifically and the salary schedule for it.
Yeah.
And I also
Transparency.
And I also think too, and I brought this up because I don't know how long that this was going to be flown. So this is another reason I brought it up. But he also dealt with our Title IX, and obviously we're under federal investigation for Title IX. And during this whole thing with our Title IX, other attorneys said we had a Brown Act violation because a board member brought forward a resolution that wasn't agendized. And so people in the public have said, "Where's that resolution that one of the trustees brought forward?" We can't find it on the website. Well, it's never agendized. And so we have all these things that have been happening and all this advice that I think could have contributed to this Title IX investigation that we're under. And so we're going to pay this guy to defend himself and his actions and also the district. I think we should be having somebody else defending us that isn't close and hasn't had the type of history through all these things that he's had with our board.
Anybody else, any comments? Nope. Okay, let's take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries 5-0 and an aye from the student board member. Okay, now that brings us to board reports, and we'll start down at the end. Todd, if you'd like to start with us.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I would like to thank Savannah Norris. This painting is awesome. All the art that we got from these students up here. I've only really looked at mine a lot, and Leandra's. It's pretty cool, but I think mine's the best, just personally. I'm really excited about. I want to reach out to her and give her a direct thank you because this is awesome, and it kind of just dovetails into what I tend to always talk about and how what we do at this district so well is we allow our students to use their gifts and talents so that they're prepared for life after school, because we know that school is not where life is. It's outside of school. And so I think just this artwork, it's CTE Appreciation Month next month. There's so many opportunities for our students in this district. I'm really, really excited for what's to come and the things that we know that Dr. LeBlanc Esparza has done in previous districts that we are going to be having here soon at some point. Don't want to push it too hard. So I'm going to gush about how great the students are, and using their talents in this district is really, really great. I've had a very busy holiday. I'm sure we all have. Winter sports are in high gear. We've got all kinds of things happening at lots of campuses. One thing specifically I've been contacted about that I want to bring up again is Parkview. There's still things that are talked about for change, and as a Parkview student sitting next to me, I'm sure she's quite aware of some of those things, even though she's on her way out. And I just want to make sure that we hold on to the integrity and the really special place that Parkview is, and it is a unique opportunity that we have in this district that other districts do not have. And I want to reiterate once again that we need to make sure that whatever changes are happening at Parkview, they do not go so far as to take away what the identity is of that school from the standpoint of it being a unique place and opportunity for our students in this district. And then one last thing, coming back to the CTE celebration next month, or that being CTE month, there are so many different opportunities for students to be able to progress outside of traditional education pathways. It's very much in my head because it's January and tax season is on its way, and there are so many things in the accounting space and in business opportunities and trades that our students can all have great success in, regardless of what their education level is. And I think that the fact that we are focusing on CTE and we have different pathways And like you mentioned tonight, that students that go through those pathways have a greater graduation rate. I think it speaks to the value of making sure that that is a priority in what we do. And I just want to say, I'm glad that we do it. Let's stay focused on it. And that's it. Thank you very much.
So I got an amazing picture from Lorelei Pohl from Yorba Linda High School, grade 12. And I got the one with a dog and a horse, the American flags everywhere, George Washington, and just the different generations and different people who make up the United States. And so this will be hanging in my hall for sure. And I've already emailed Bird Potter and asked if I could come and thank her in person for this, because this is really awesome. This is going to go up in my house, probably next to my Ronald Reagan quote. So thank you, Lorelei. And I'm going to put this up on my social media if you guys all want to see it closer. I tried to take a picture a moment ago, but I got a lot of light on it. So another thing that I wanted to go over is we have a controversial issues policy, and we also have parental notification policy in our district. And I have been contacted by some teachers in our district that says that they have tried to contact parents and they've been chastised by a counselor for contacting the parents, and they're concerned because they said, we have this notification policy, this is what I'm supposed to do, but I'm being chastised. And so then we also have controversial issues policy where we're having stuff in the classroom that's going on, and people are bringing politics that's not part of the district curriculum and their own opinions about recent current events, and it's making the parents upset and it's making the students upset. And so we have a controversial issues policy that says if you're going to bring up a controversial issue or topic that's not a part of the district curriculum, both sides are supposed to be presented and the teacher is supposed to stay neutral. And as you've been seeing all of these videos that are going out on social media, there's a lot, and there's a lot of stuff happening in the classrooms. And so then when we hear it as board members, or we get, the complaints, and people tell us what's going on, it's troublesome, because why are we not following our controversial issues or parental notification policy? Why do we have this stuff? Why do we, as a board, why do we pass this stuff if we're not going to follow it? I'm also concerned about our use of district property and resources for politics. I got a phone call today from several teachers, and they said that they had an Apple person going around to the different elementary schools, and they were collecting petitions during class time hours for an AB that needed to go on, and they would go to the classrooms and say, you haven't signed this petition, and it was right in the middle of their classrooms. And the teachers told me they felt intimidated. Some of them didn't want to sign, and they interrupted their classroom, you're not allowed to do that. And they said that the teachers were concerned. They said, well, Apple said that they're paying for their substitute. And so my question would be well, how is Apple paying for their substitute? Is the district paying for the substitute for this teacher to be able to go around to all these schools and these school sites and do this? So I was curious if we can look into this, because we're just having a lot. We have a city council member that's somehow on our campus is talking to our students. She's up for re-election. We've had Nancy Watkins a couple years ago for Women in Leadership. We had to actually pull her at the last minute because she's giving politically motivated statements. And we had some union members and some district employees trying to put her in, as campaign things. We've had all of these things going on. Principals putting up people who are running for election on their websites. We've had people putting out signs during school hours, and we're coming up on another election. And I think people are just fatigued about it. I think parents are sick and tired of it. They're sick and tired of watching teachers during school time hours go put up signs for, these, candidates that are running for office. And so I actually think, and what's really irritating me, is I think that this is completely disrespectful to our new superintendent. It's basically saying oh, you're here, you're new, we're just going to do whatever we want. Whether it's the union, whether it's the teachers, whether it's whatever. We have things in place, we have policies in place, regardless who the superintendent is, and it comes from the board. And so it's actually disrespectful to our board and our new superintendent to do this. And so you're either saying, we don't care what you say, or you're saying that we now don't have to listen to policies that have been passed in the past because this board, doesn't care about these certain things. So we have to follow it. We have to have something. You either take these policies away or everybody follows it. You follow the supplemental curriculum as you're supposed to that aligns with the district curriculum. So this is like where it is, and I've had so many complaints. Like, I don't think preschool teachers should be passing out ICE cards to parents. I don't know where that's in a preschool curriculum. Just as I don't know where in the high school curriculum it says that you bash law enforcement and then you pass out ICE cards on how to avoid ICE. I don't know where this is in our curriculum. And I don't know why it is okay for people to be doing this in our classrooms and in our school. This is not a place for politics. Our scores suck all across the nation and all across California. And yet we have people that are more concerned with trying to evade ICE and trying to evade law enforcement than actually teaching the curriculum in their class to help our students. And so I guess that's just my frustration, is because we've stood up here time and time again and tried to get flag policies implemented. We've tried to do all kinds of things to keep politics out of the classroom, and yet it just keeps creeping in no matter what. So either we start to have consequences or just get rid of the policies. I mean, what else do we do? Because in a normal workplace, you violate policy, there's repercussions. But it seems like for some reason in this district, we just do whatever the heck we want and just don't care. Doesn't matter that you passed out that ICE card to a law enforcement officer's kid or an ICE officer's kid. Just doesn't matter. We don't care, because this is what we want to push. We want to push these politics in our classroom. Doesn't matter that you interrupted a first grader's lesson, a reading lesson, because you needed a petition signed that needed to go to Sacramento to help the teachers union. There has to be a stop. It has to stop somewhere. And you know what, as a board, we have to stop it. And on that note, Todd, you forgot to talk about the basketball games we've been to. We've been to many Esperanza, Yorba Linda, and El Dorado basketball games, and they're having a phenomenal season. Esperanza won tonight. I don't know about the El Dorado boys, so congratulations to them. I saw a really good game between Esperanza and Yorba Linda High School, the boys basketball. Phenomenal game. It was close and a little bit of a pull away, but just really proud of our really proud of our students, and I'm really hoping I can make it out to Esperanza Wrestling tomorrow night for senior night as well. But I wanted to end on a positive note, but I'm just saying, but what I said before stands. We have declining enrollment like you wouldn't believe. Since December of 2024, we've lost over 400 students. And the 400 students are going to continue to leave if we continue to allow our classrooms. Everybody says, why are they going to charter schools? Why are they going to private schools? Well, maybe because the politics don't happen like they happen in public schools. And we just simply, we just ignore it. We just ignore it. And we say, why? Why are these people leaving? This is why they're leaving. I've had so many parents say I would never put my kid in public school again, knowing what I know. So either we stop the declining enrollment because we stop the nonsense and we teach the kids to read and write, or I don't know, or public school just continues to die. We have that choice. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you guys all had a wonderful holiday break like I did and had time with family and friends. So since we've been back, I attended my first California Nutrition Advisory Council meeting that had been put on, and there was some state updates. One was whole milk is coming back to schools, and there's grants for kitchen infrastructure that are coming due, and for fruits and vegetables. And coming up in March is National Nutrition Month. So as my part on this committee, I was placed on the ultra processed foods, and there's a new law that was passed, AB 1264, and And that new law is going to roll out banned foods throughout the district. And I had a giant learning curve at my first meeting and figuring out what foods were going to be banned and not. And we're going to be putting stuff together for our local school districts to help them. Also, recently, there's been much discussion about the Valencia High School kitchen, including claims that it is currently under construction and that I'm proceeding without board knowledge or approval. And I want to clarify the facts. So I'm going to share a timeline, relevant agenda items, and where the supporting documents can be found. So if you're interested in this, please feel free to take notes. On November 14, 2023, during a study session, it was item 2 on the agenda. The Valencia High School kitchen project was listed with an estimated cost of $4.5 million. For the 2023-24 school year budget, $350,000 was out of developer fees, and this was to allocate for architectural design and early planning. The ledger labeled this under 2023-24 approved projects. And this is the giant ledger, and it's online. And it lists for the 24-25 budget, $1.6 million in developer fees was allocated to begin construction. For the 25-26 budget, the plan shows $1 million in developer fees, $500,000 in redevelopment agency funds, and $1 million from Fund 44. From that meeting, it was clearly understood that the kitchen was a 3-year project using approximately $2.9 million in developer fees. This information can be verified in the November 14, 2023 agenda under item 2, detailed facilities 5-year project plan. Notable, the Universal Sports Institute does not appear anywhere in this plan. On December 10th, 2024, agenda item 13, the board received a presentation on the Valencia High School kitchen, which included drawings, cost estimates, and design options. Right here is what was given out. After discussion, the board directed the district to proceed in option 2. On December 17, 2024, agenda item 22.4, the annual and 5-year developer fee report for the 23-25 school year, reported that no developer fees were spent on the Valencia kitchen, while $1.4 million was spent on the Universal Sports Institute. And this is the report that's online and available. That same night, under agenda item 22.9, the board voted 5-0 to hire an architect and begin planning for the Valencia kitchen. I pulled this item from the consent calendar to highlight the beginning of the design phase. All board members were invited to tour the existing kitchen with the architect and ask questions. Per Government Code 4525 Executor, they're an exemption for professional services like architectural services that don't require a bid. Public bid is the best practice, but not required for professional services. On December 16th, 2025 agenda, item 24.5, the annual developer fee for the 24-25 school year, again reported that no developer fees were spent on the Valencia kitchen, with $456,000 spent on the Universal Sports Institute. In total, $1.8 million in developer fees originally planned for the Valencia kitchen was redirected to the Universal Sports Institute. My campaign mailer stated that $1.9 million had been diverted from other budgeted projects, including the Valencia kitchen. Based on the developer fees reports, my estimate was off by about $22,000 that I compiled researching through the warrants. And in comparison, we were told that the kitchen was only going to cost $1.2 million and that 200 students, which both of those numbers are off as well. As of today, there is no construction occurring at Valencia High School for the kitchen project. The plans are currently with the architect and the Division of State Architect for approval. I have been reassured that the project will go out to bid once approved by DSA and will return to the board for approval. Based on the November 14, 2023 timeline, construction would have been wrapping up now and the kitchen would have been operational by fall of this year. That is not the case. In my opinion, and based on publicly available documents, the diversion of the developer fees contributed to this delay. I encourage anyone to review the agendas, report, and listen to the discussion in the recorded audio. No public requests is required. All the information is publicly accessible, documented, and transparent. The board receives information when requested in our weekly board updates, and the last update was January 9th of 2026. If anyone is suggesting that this project did not follow proper procedure or has not been transparent, that is not supported by documented record. The Valencia kitchen has been reviewed in 2 public facility study sessions, presented to the board seeking input. Additionally, the approval of the initial design phase was placed on a public agenda, discussed open by board members, and approved on a 5-0 vote. Each step, study, design, and architectural planning has followed the standard facilities process used for other projects in this district. Any statements that ignore this timeline or suggest hidden actions only create confusion and undermine trust in the district. The facts are clear, the documents are public, and the process has been transparent. Our families deserve accurate information and clarity, not speculation or opinions unsupported by facts, especially on projects of this scale that directly impact students every day. And I would like to leave on a positive note and thank my student for this beautiful, Zuri Castro, for this beautiful artwork that I will display in my office at home or in my house. I don't have a direct office. And also, I would like to thank Joan Velasquez and Yolanda Mendoza for all their work that they have done in the last year of supporting our district. They have been great assets, and we have enjoyed working with them, and I truly appreciate them coming and supporting our district at this time. So, thank you.
All right, so I would like to thank Dr. Kim and the district for also for recognizing Holocaust Remembrance Day. Again, I agree with the speakers earlier that it is a very important event and time in our history to remember and not forget. And I appreciate the time and effort that was put into that to acknowledge that. So thank you very much. I'd like to thank everyone, all the students and staff for the appreciation for Board Appreciation Month, all the recognition we received, and my beautiful picture as well from Nicholas Song from El Dorado High School. And again, yes, like everyone else, it'll be displayed in my house proudly. And just thank you again for the signs, the cards. We all got little goodie bags of other cards from students, so that was great. So thank you so much for showing that recognition. Also, I would like to thank thank Yolanda and Joan for all their hard work and keeping us afloat for these few months. And I know they had a lot to dig into, and they had a lot to uncover and a lot to catch up on. So I'd like to thank them very much for helping us keep everything afloat and basically also kind of cleaning up some things that needed to be cleaned up. So thank you very much to them. I appreciate them, and I hope they're enjoying their time off and have some trips planned. This month has been relatively quiet for me. I hope our staff had some time to sit back and relax with family and friends over the holidays. I was able to tour our district office courtesy of Lauralee. It was great to see everyone in their work environment. I was able to meet most of the hardworking staff that are vital to keeping our district running. They're truly the backbone of everything that we do. Along with the teachers, I know the teachers are always up front, and you see them, and the school staff are always in front of everybody. But it's really the district staff is kind of the behind the scenes workers that get things done, and really want to thank them as well. I was able to tour the HR department, technology, print shop, business services, ed services, transportation, early learning, purchasing, risk management, student services, and the warehouse departments, just to name a few. Thank you for all for being so welcoming, letting me, like I told everybody, sorry for interrupting your workday, and I'm looking forward to other visits I have for school sites at the end of the month. On another note, I was rereading the PYLUSD harassment policy that is attached to all emails. It is a policy that applies to all employees, including those of us sitting here on the dais. In summary, it states that PYLUSD prohibits and does not engage in any discrimination, intimidation, harassment, or bullying. Anyone who engages in this type of public harassment activities is not setting an example, a positive example or tone for our community, and most of all, our students. Our district deserves to be led with dignity and respect. This is one of my priorities as leader. Publicly spreading misinformation is irresponsible. I bring this up because I've been asked to clarify a few false comments that have been made about me and my beliefs. I appreciate those of you who took the time out to personally ask me to clarify any information. If anyone has any questions about myself or school board related topics, I welcome you to contact me directly. One lesson I live by, and that I passed on to my own kids, is that there is no need to defame someone or promote yourself. Your words and actions should speak for themselves, and I hope we can all grow and lead by example. Thank you.
Thank you. So I just have a couple of updates as well. The CNAC meeting, the California Nutrition Advisory Committee January meeting was just held. The committee part that I set on our policy priority that we set on is adequate time to eat. And California passed legislation SB 349 to ensure that all students have adequate time to eat their school meals as part of School Meals for All initiative. It's not enforceable by law, this particular direction from the CDE, but it really talks about the minutes that kids have to eat once they are served. And they recommend 10 minutes for breakfast and 20 minutes for lunch, and that is after the last person is served so that they have time to actually enjoy their meal. The CNAC committee, that particular committee so far has created a two-page resource guide on the CDE website that has been shared with all of the school districts. We have worked with CDE to launch a statewide communication campaign to share the new fact sheet with LEAs and our key partners. And we're working with them to on a survey of districts to identify which districts are following the recommendation and get feedback on best practices that might be replicable in other districts, as well as easy. Additionally, we recommended to the CDE to include a question in the new KIT grant application on how grant funds can be used to support CDE's adequate time to eat recommendations, and those were included. So that was exciting that work continues. Last week I was invited to Edwards, actually it's been a few months, but we were waiting for Dr. Kim to arrive, invited to Edwards Life Sciences to tour their facilities. And I don't know if any of you are aware, but Orange County is really a medical device manufacturing hub of the world, one of a few. And Edwards Life Sciences is one of those facilities. And there's great alignment with Esperanza's Manufacturing and Engineering, as well as Medical Sciences Academy. So it just felt appropriate that that we go and tour, and also bring along Dr. Kim, but also our Superintendent Lynch from North Orange County ROP, and the Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services from North Orange County ROP, and Esperanza's Principal Kelly Molina. We visited the museums they had on campus there and had a chance to see heart valves actually being sewn together by the techs that were there. We had conversations about jobs in the medical industry and the manufacturing industry and the need for skilled workers and the workforce, and it is a really lucrative business and industry to get into, especially here in Orange County. We've got work and workforce development right here in our own backyard. So I look forward to additional conversation about how we can partner together and expand the options for our students. Esperanza is currently the Medical Sciences Academy and the Engineering Academies of both of those schools really would play into the work that they do in biomanufacturing. And I would like to just thank you to those parents, the two parents that gave us that tour, have students in our district and really reached out because they wanted to show what they do and also provide opportunities for our students. So kind of along the lines of clearing some of the misconceptions that have been putting out there on social media, there have been a lot of comments that specifically the board majority is intending to close Esperanza and wants to close Esperanza, and that's not true. And I want to assure the parents, the students, the staff, and the community that I believe Esperanza is a fantastic school. They're amazing programs and teachers, and it is clear that the students love their school. I don't have any plans to close the school, and it's actually quite the opposite. As I explained, looking at ways to build and continue to build the programs and student pathways. Next week, I'll be attending the OCSBA seminar with Capital Advisors to provide an update on the governor's budget and how that is going to affect public education in California. And I have some school visits that are on my calendar coming up in the next week or so, and I look forward to seeing all of our schools out there in 2026. Thank you to Yolanda and Joan for all of the hard work and dedication that they provided to us and helped more understanding of what's been happening and help us get into a better pathway going forward. Happy New Year to everybody, and have a great 2026. So with that, take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries, and we adjourn at 9 p.m.